Planet Dolan.
From naked grandma in the pool to run-ins with registered sex offenders, the Planet Dolan crew re-enacts some of the best true stories from our subreddit about the weirdest encounters people have had with drunk people. I'm Pringle the One, and today, I'll be your narrator. Number 10 was submitted by Thenightkeeper. Mimi Up was the host at an IHOP. One night around 1 a.m., a drunken man and his friends walked in. When Mimi told them to follow her to her table, the man replied, "I'll follow you anywhere, baby." Mimi shrugged it off and sat them at the table. Soon after, the man turned and asked if Mimi was a virgin. She politely told him it was none of his business. To this, his response was, "If you are, you're not going to be when I'm done with you." Then he drank the strawberry syrup and took all of the rolled silverware outside and hid them like an Easter egg hunt. They were still finding silverware 2 weeks later. Number 9 was submitted by XXvickyXX. Sweet Commando's dad once had a massive party at their house, and at that party, his dad had a bit too much to drink and stripped naked. Rather than keep his nudity in the house, he kicked the fence panel down and ran through their neighbor's garden. Sweet Commando really liked his neighbors, so the whole thing made him cringe. That's why the best part was the phone call the next morning between his dad and the neighbors, talking about his drunk antics. Number 8 was submitted by Little Biscuit 413. One time when Helbit was 10, he was at a barbecue with his mom. One guy had a bit too much beer and started doing some sort of karate routine. Helbit didn't even know what it was supposed to be, but he went to check it out anyways. All he heard was a yell of, "Be gone, demon child!" before getting karate chopped right in the face. Helbin found the guy the next morning, sleeping on a roundabout. Number 7 was submitted by VirtualNova. Lagna came home after school one day and no one was home. At least, Lagna thought no one was home. He went down the hall to check the rooms and saw his dad drunk. He was in a horse onesie watching My Little Pony and yelling at the screen about how to solve friendship problems. Lagna walked away and didn't even mention it to him later. Number 6 was submitted by Warfang667. On his first day of middle school, Tulip was waiting for the bus with his brother. Suddenly, an old homeless man came up to the bus stop. He reeked of alcohol, so Tulip slid away. The man slid over closer to him the more Tulip tried to slide away. When the bus arrived, Tulip got on and the man tried to follow him. When the bus driver wouldn't let him on, he pulled out a Swiss Army knife and started yelling, "I command you to give me the juice! I pay my taxes! Ah!" He then stood in front of the bus and wouldn't move, so the bus driver eventually called the cops. The police arrested him, but even in the back of the police car, he wouldn't stop looking at Tulip. So the officer called Tulip into questioning, where he found out the man was a registered sex offender. From then on, Tulip rode to school with his dad. Number 5 was submitted by moonearthling. Roba was sitting in a local park with some friends when a man with a large bag sat at a bench. She didn't pay him much attention until she glanced over and saw him pull a beer and a rabbit out of his bag. He put it on the grassy area behind him and stayed there with his beer for about 20 minutes. Then he put the rabbit back in the bag and walked away without saying a word to anyone. Number 4 was submitted by Queen Sammy 87. One time, Froggy witnessed a guy piss through a letterbox. He just walked up to the door, whipped his thing out, and pissed in the letterbox. Then he got out a key and opened the door and fell into the house. So it turns out the guy pissed through his own letterbox and then fell into it. Froggy laughed about this for over an hour. Number 3 was submitted by AJ Solis 4641. When Dolan was 3 or 4, his grandma drank so much, she got confused and started singing happy birthday, but it wasn't Dolan's birthday. 5 minutes later, she stripped naked and jumped in the freezing cold water of Dolan's pool. As soon as she jumped in, she started screaming, "Dolan, this alligator's getting me, help!" It ended up taking 3 hours to get her out of the pool. Number 2 was submitted by King of Kings 1461. Spincis was leaving school one day to head to the park when she saw a drunk woman running around with a mysterious object. This woman was swinging the object around at people, and it smelled horrible. After several minutes of this, someone called the cops, and they arrested the woman. The mysterious object turned out to be a dead cat. Number 1 was submitted by me, your narrator, Pringle the One. One of the weirdest encounters I had was one time when I came out of the club. This was during my stay in England. I was having a great time, and whenever I go to the club, I don't actually drink. I was pretty sober for the most part, and I just go out there to dance. So by the time I got out the club, there was a bum in the corner, and it seemed like he had something in his pocket. I don't know what it was, but he just kept moving it. So then he screamed to me, "Hey you, hey, come here you." And then I was kind of freaked out. I was like, "Ah, man, I really don't want to mess with anybody right now. Please just let me go home. I just want to go to sleep. I had a good night. Please don't mess it up." And it was a Friday too. So he kept bugging me, and he was telling me, "Hey, I told you to come here. I want to show you something." So then I walked very carefully because I wasn't too sure. It could have been knifed, could have been a gun. You never know. You just never know. So I walked up to him, and then he told me this. "Hey man, I want to show you something. It's in my pocket. You think you could reach for it?" As he told me that, I saw him, and he was just moving his hand inside his pocket, up and down. After that, I was freaked out, and I ran immediately. As I was running, he went and screamed out something again. He said this. I just wanted to show you something." I saw some sort of liquid hit the floor, and I was extremely freaked out. Huge thanks for the folks over on our Planet Dolan subreddit for submitting their stories. Alright guys, what's the weirdest encounter with a drunk person you've ever had? Let us know on the Reddit page link below, and you might be featured in a future countdown. This video was made possible by our fans over on Patreon. Thanks for your support, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Take care, everybody. Peace.